Hello and welcome to the Social Kandura podcast. My name is Gaurav, and today we have been very excited to have someone who's very flavorful in the cricket world, especially in the Middle East part of things. Please put your hands together for Sufyan, and he is one of the most prominent cricketing personalities based out of Oman, and he's come all the way from Oman to speak to us about his journey. First of all, thank you so much for coming here, gracing us with your presence and giving us the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
Absolutely. And you've been playing a very incremental role in the cricket scene that is happening in Oman. And what was the first step that you took towards, getting started with the whole process of, I wanted to play cricket professionally? How did that whole process start? What was your backstory with that?
I think it takes me long back to the school days. When I was in school, I used to go with my brother to play cricket, elder brother. So he was in the school team, and I just used to stand there and watch. So that interest got into me as well, that I want to also play.
Right. Yeah.
Then when I started playing, I was really young, and I remember my parents telling me that you're very young. Make sure that you don't get hit by the ball.
You started very early in your thing.
Then I waited for just join the academy. And I didn't play for any team because my parents were concerned about me getting injured, because the cricket ball is really hard. So with time, I joined the school team, and I was fortunate to perform. From there, we used to have trials for the selection, like for under 17 Oman, under 19 Oman.
Right.
So they used to call all the good players from all different schools and have a small two weeks camp and choose the best players out of them. So I was fortunate enough to get selected in that. And the best thing is that when I got selected for the first tour, second match of my life, international under 17, I got the man of the match.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
So that was the, I think, push from there. I got to go heights, and then I got selected for the under 19 tournament. I was just 16 years old.
Okay.
And then against Afghanistan, I scored a half century, and then I was called for the national team. So when I played my first game for the national team, I was 17 years old, youngest.
Okay. So you started as very young.
Yes, and my teammates were all 25, 30, 32. I was only 17.
Amazing. So that's a good kickstart that you got started. Who's the role model that you look for, especially when it comes to cricket? Because it takes a lot of courage, especially a country like India, for example, where cricket is almost a second religion that people follow. Everybody wants to be a cricketer. Something like Oman, where the cricketing history has not been that great. How did you figure out that I'm going to make it big and I'm going to represent Oman on the international scale? What was the thought behind it, or is it something that just came up with all the hard work, or how did that whole thing?
No, I started playing. My parents used to tell me that Oman has no future in cricket because Oman is passionate about football. They like football.
Exactly.
So even at that time, I used to feel like somewhere in my heart I used to feel they're right, but the passion was there, and the excitement, and I had the feeling that I want to take cricket to the next level. So obviously it's a team game, but we were fortunate enough to qualify for the first T20 World Cup in 2016. So we have seen the development of Oman. Initially when I used to play, we used to play on AstroTurf.
Correct.
Okay, and all stand ground, mud ground. But with time, we got a turf wicket, we got a good ground, green ground, and then we qualified for the World Cup. The standard of cricket increased. Correct. And our domestic cricket got better because a lot of Indians and Pakistani players, they come to Oman to play domestic cricket. So we get good exposure out of it. And when we played the first T20 World Cup in 2016, that was in India. That was a proud moment because that particular World Cup was like a dream come true, because we always thought we want to play a World Cup. Any cricketer wants to play a World Cup. Any sportsman actually.
Yeah, and it's a big it's a big service to the nation.
Actually, that's the highest level a player can achieve.
Achieve, correct.
So we were really myself especially, I was really proud of the whole journey, and I told my parents that, remember, you used to tell me that cricket has no future, but God was very kind and we played the World Cup.
Yeah.
And not only that, then again in 2021, the T20 World Cup, we were there. So in both the World Cups, I featured.
Yeah. How does it feel, representing your own country on an international stage, especially India, where cricket is, people are crazy about cricket. So going from a place where you're not sure what's going to happen, playing to your school, all the way cut to you're playing with a stadium where people are so excited, there's so much nervousness, and there's so many things that are going on. How is that euphoric feeling, when you're at the crease, you have this huge amount of people cheering for you, and how does that whole feel for you?
I think a place like India, where cricket is like a religion, as you said, it was a really exciting journey, because I still remember first match was against Ireland, and we were the lowest ranked team to beat Ireland in the World Cup. We beat Ireland in the first match itself.
Right.
And I still remember when we got back to the hotel, I had literally around 3,000 to 4,000 WhatsApp messages.
Wow.
And Instagram post and Facebook post and Twitter, everywhere. And the media hype everywhere. We used to get media people wanted to interview us.
Correct. Yeah.
So the hype which we got and the fame which we were getting in India was really exciting, and I still feel that the best place to play cricket is India.
Right. Yeah. And I also think that because of the way that cricket evolves, or athletes as well, the way that they whole across, obviously representing yourself on an international scale is something which, like you said, is every athlete's dream. It takes a lot of work to get there, but once you're there, then it also comes down to point of what the future holds. Of course, there is a new generation of people that are coming in as well. What are you aiming towards doing? The new people who are now 16 who want to enter into the cricketing industry, into sports fields, what are your contributions? What are you trying to build for them that maybe you didn't have when you were starting out from there?
I think the youngsters who are coming up now are really fortunate that they have everything is ready for them.
Correct.
When we
You've
started,
got everything built in.
When we started, we were literally behind what international standards were. Now we have the indoor facilities, we have 2 proper grounds, we have the side nets, we have everything, good coaching staff, and a big, huge Oman cricket building dedicated to Oman cricket. So they are getting everything, they are likely to get everything, just from their younger age. But still, I feel that because I am the only Omani national in the national team, I wish that a lot of Omanis, especially the local Omanis, can look up to me and start playing the game and take interest of the game.
Correct.
So that's the aim, and that comes with the team doing well.
Exactly.
If the team
it becomes
if the team, like we played the World Cup, everybody wanted to know about what is cricket.
Yes.
Why is it
It
getting
develops
so
a lot of interest within local as well, because I think everybody is only focused on football.
Definitely.
And
but I must say that cricket has come up a long way in Oman, really.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think once you have that international exposure, then people start looking up to what the sport can offer.
Whenever we meet the local Omanis, before they didn't know what cricket is, but when we talk, they recognize us, they know what cricket is. So that's a good sign. Maybe they don't understand the game, but the good thing is that they know that there's a game called cricket.
Correct. And Oman is being represented there as well.
Yes.
And with the invent of Instagram, and now with the invent of all of these new platforms that is coming up, there's a lot of pressure for a lot of athletes who are very world famous now, because they get love from all around the world, but they get a lot of hate from all around the world as well. There's a lot of hate comments, there's a lot of appreciation, like you said, so many messages are coming through. But within those messages, there are also a lot of those, which are not in the right space of mind, that are not right. How do you battle with those type of things where people are trying to tell you? Because, a lot of people are like, oh, you know what, I could have made a century in that test wicket, I could have done that. But they don't understand the complexities of how it is and what it is. So how do you deal with those negative criticisms? Or, does that bother you down, the team down, or is it just part of the process?
I think it's part of the process. Being a international sportsman, any sport, like people look up to you. So there are times when, example, the team is not doing well,
right,
or if the team is doing really well, there might be people who are not in the right frame of mind, as you said. So we do get negative comments. We know how to ignore them. So that doesn't bother us.
Yeah, it's just ignore and move on. At least what is the best thing that you're doing as well. The other thing also is because Instagram now has become such, social media as such has become such an accessible platform now. A lot of youngsters want to do everything that you're doing. the way you talk, the way you dress, the way you look at things. So anything that you have, for example, a perspective about or an opinion about, that becomes a very influential part of the younger audiences as well. So a lot of athletes are role models for a lot of people that don't want to be Bollywood celebrities or whatever. They look up to athletes. How big of a responsibility is it when you post something on Instagram to make sure that you cover the right things, that you look everything that's proper and correct and all of those things? How important is that, and how do you look after that?
I think it's really important for all the influencers, basically, not only sportsmen or not only people in the film industry or drama industry. It's for everyone who has a good following. They should make sure that they put up content that is benefiting the society rather than it is harming the society, because a lot of younger generation children who are in their teenage or in their schooling days,
right,
that's the age where you have a chance of getting influenced by wrong post or by wrong comment. So it's our responsibility to make sure that the content is benefiting the society rather than harming the society.
And how much do you think it makes a difference? Certain cricket players or certain international players, they have a huge following, and that gives them a different type of a confidence when they're going down to play a match or they're going down or speaking to in public. How much of an impact does that make, or is it something that's just secondary to what you're playing on the game?
I think, as I said, with your team or with your performances, you do get a lot of good fan base and a lot of followers.
Yeah.
So that's not something that distracts a cricketer or a sportsman. That is always secondary.
Right. Okay.
Right. So first is your game, and then second is obviously all
what everything is. And of course, a lot of people now, like you said, recognize you in Oman and know what you're doing. What is the first moment where you had someone and said, "Oh, Sufyan, can I take a picture with you? You played so well." How was that moment? When was that first thing that had happened?
There have been many moments, but the one I remember is that every year there is a Muscat festival in Oman during the winter time.
Right.
So once I was going with my family, and there were like 4 or 5 boys, first time, who got to know, who identified me.
Okay.
And then they asked me, "Are you Sufyan?" I told yes. "Can we take a selfie with you?" And
wow.
That was the first time.
Yeah.
Since then, there have been, after the World Cup especially, there have been many instances, but that was the first time which made us feel good.
Right. And a lot of brand sponsorships and a lot of brands also get very excited when they see that this is happening. And endorsing brands' responsibility is also something that which a lot of athletes have to do. They just to make sure that they have the right frame of mind, they have the right game. A lot of times, brand endorsements as a content creator or a cricketer also merges with what you do on a day-to-day life. We've seen, back in India, we've seen a lot of people, that cricketers especially, because people are so sensitive about cricket, if they endorse a brand and if they don't perform well, there's a lot of hatred that goes against that brand itself or the cricketer for sure, which is a very common thing as well. What are your comments on trying to reduce that, or what is your comments in trying to understand that, okay, how is the correlation between both of these things?
I think endorsing brands for a sportsman is normal. I mean, it's nowadays, if you see in India, every other cricketer is doing that. So there's no relation with how he's performing and then people giving bad comments to that brand because this particular sportsman didn't perform. So I think that makes no sense for me. I mean, if the cricketer is endorsing a brand, that's the deal between the brand and the cricketer.
Correct.
Because the cricketer has followers.
Yes.
So
true.
that has nothing to do with the performance
or something.
So people think that the performance is low because the mind is towards all these things, but that is not the thing. I mean, if a brand is coming to you and offering you a good contract, and within certain guidelines and within certain limitations, if you accept it, then it's fine. I mean, it's normal.
It's a part of what
it's part
it is.
Of it. Yeah.
Talking more about the international cricket of how everything else works over there, how different was it to face your first fast ball on an international stadium or an international thing versus facing it on home ground, where you sort of know the bowler, you know his spin, you know his yorker, you know the speeds at which he'll bowl, versus when you go to an international thing and you're facing balls 140, 160, 180. How different was that experience? Were you prepared for that in the first place?
I think playing at home doesn't actually rely on, like, if you wouldn't know that what speeds a bowler is bowling. It's not about the speed. It's that just that you're used to playing in those conditions.
Correct.
In that ground or on that wicket. It's not like you know what the bowler is going to do. It's just that you trust your ground and you trust the conditions because you have played there, right? But when you go out, it's all new because it's all new conditions. You don't know whether early morning is there dew on the wicket or not, or is it going to have the fast bowlers? Is it going to have the spinners? With the experience, of course, the coaches tell you, but the most knowledge is with the home team always, because they are playing there, even their domestic matches, even their practice matches, friendly matches, everything is played there, so they know better. So that's the difference between the two things. But for me, I think I remember when I played against Afghanistan under 19. As I told you, I was just a kid.
Correct.
They were really quick. I mean, most of them are playing in the national team now. Okay. So I remember I was afraid of facing them because they were really quick for my age. But
you were the youngest in the team.
But thank God I managed to score a 50 against them. And then, the national senior team called me after that.
Right, yeah.
So the fear is there. It was there as a kid. But now with time, when you get experience,
you get more experience and you understand it, yeah. So has there been ever a point, and it's very natural to have this as well, because football being so big, did you or any of your family members or friends ever consider be like, what, cricket is too difficult to get into, let me try football instead? Did that ever happen, or were you just
to say, did they ask me to do that?
Or did you ever feel from the inside, sometimes you feel like, this is not working out, I should do something which is already there?
No, that never happened.
Okay.
Like, I knew I have the talent in cricket, so why would I choose football? Football was very bad.
So you had your focus, yeah.
And honestly, like, we can say it on camera, we had a lot of ups and downs.
Right, yeah.
And recently I got injured on my knee. I got 2 tears. It's part of the journey. I mean, it's not like when you choose a path, you will always be successful.
Correct.
Maybe I can say I had more of lows than highs.
You never know,
I can say that with myself. Okay. So it's part of the journey. I mean, if you have the passion, if you have the never give up attitude,
you will continue.
You will continue no matter what happens. So that has been my motivation.
Yeah.
Whenever there has been a failure, that was a motivation for me. This is the reason I took this path, and I have to prove that wrong.
Yeah.
Example, sometimes you don't get selected.
Correct, yeah. And
as a cricketer, you're a human being, you might not perform.
You feel bad, yeah.
You feel bad, but you get motivated also that this is the time when I have to prove everybody wrong. So that's part of the journey.
Yeah. And recently we also had the opportunity to meet you at Film Fair, where you won as well. How was that experience? Was it something that you were expecting, or was that like the support and everything else that just changed the whole thing around for that?
No, I think as you know, there was a voting option going on before the event.
It was based on public votes, yes.
And I was really happy that I won the runners-up award, but that was big for me because Filmfare is a huge brand.
Filmfare is a big brand, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all because of the followers, and I was not expecting it, honestly. I mean, I was...
This is a surprise.
Yeah, I thought that there would be a tough competition, so let's see. I was just looking forward to it.
Nice.
But happy to end up second.
Amazing, yeah. A lot of youngsters who are following you now, who are following everything that you do, what's your key message to them? What's the one message that you want to leave them with, that telling that's your speech for them?
As I said before, that you don't have to give up, no matter what passion you have. And whatever you do in life, maybe it might be you want to become a doctor, you want to become an engineer, you want to become a sportsman, anything.
Keep going.
But make sure that you keep working hard and keep your mind clear with what you want. I mean, there might be a lot of distractions, a lot of failures, but you have to keep fighting. I mean, that's what it is.
Keep pushing for
hard work always pays off.
True, 100%. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us and sharing some great insights about us. Stay tuned for more such videos, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.